Hello, Internet. I'm Hamster. Hold on. No, that was right. I was gonna. Oh my God. Never mind. God. How did I not remember how I introduced it? How many videos have I done where I've said this a million times? Thousands. Because you know what is actually memorable is the music we're gonna talk about in this. We can segue and save ourselves. Hello, Internet. I'm HamsterBomb.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is HITBOX, the gaming podcast where we talk about video game stuff.
Pulled this one out of our butts.
Yeah, well, kind of.
We haven't thought about it.
Not that we don't have butts. I do want to mention that I indeed do have a butt, but also we did miss a week of HITBOX because if you could imagine...
It was Christmas.
Yeah, it was really busy. And right now on a rainy, yucky afternoon in January...
It's disgusting here right now.
We're going to talk about video game music.
Because that makes us happy.
Yeah, well, or just makes us.
Or it just gets stuck in there and it's not good. It
Yeah.
just loops on endless repeat for hours and you just want to go to sleep and hope that it's not there when you wake up again.
Yeah, or you have to like take a shower or wash the dishes and it just pops in your head. And whatever those tracks are, we're going to talk about them today. People have very different songs that will just...
Some of them are good.
Neurotically pop in their head.
Some of them are bad.
Some of them just exist, and they won't go away. Like the one we're listening to right now.
This was my pick.
Well, this is kind of like our filler introduction thing, because
Yes.
this is just horrendous. Most of these we're talking about we really like. So we're going to be talking about most memorable music in video games. And the one we're listening to right now...
Like anybody who had a Wii knows this.
It's so bad. God, it's terrible. This is the Me Plaza.
Oh, we had to say the title of it?
Yeah,
Okay.
we kind of do. This is the Me Plaza.
And all your little ugly me's are walking around into each other.
Yeah.
And the ones you forgot that you made from like, you know.
Not even just made. Like you could go online or something and just like look at other people's uploaded me's and get like Austin Powers and SpongeBob and Michael Jackson and like all that crap.
I would expect to hear this music in an elevator in like 30 years from now when the license expires for it.
It's just outrageously boring. It doesn't have like a consistent rhythm. It's like it's fumbling constantly, and as soon as it sounds like it's about to start doing something, it does some other thing and it just like flops over. It's like a stumbling drunk at 4 a.m. walking across the bridge, like throwing up in public trash cans. It's the theme song to that person's life.
Yep.
That's what we're listening to.
Yep.
It's
It's
awful.
very memorable.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a mess.
Because you open up this plays when you create a Me, which you kind of had to do, even if you didn't want to associate with the rest of the Me crap that the Wii kind of forced on you. Even though now that it's later, like the idea of what a Me is, I think is really cool. Make like a marketable version of your profile of your character.
You, and that's always connected to your Nintendo account.
Yeah,
and
they look loads better now too. You build one on a Wii, you can't even replicate what you can do anymore.
Did not think we were going to talk about Me Plaza music this long.
Nope, it sucks. So anyway, we're finally going to move on to this. And the way I have this set up, so you can actually listen to it, I have the folder that I put up with 15 songs, the folder that Kim put up with 15 songs. Who goes first?
Let's do yours first.
Okay, sure. We're going to do mine first. And
there's-
these are in pretty much no particular order. I'm opening up a folder right now, and it is whatever alphabetical order it added to the random mishmash of like numbers and stuff of tracks and then sometimes letters and stuff. So it's a complete hodgepodge.
So that's what you're going to talk about. You're going to tell us like what the game is, the name of the soundtrack, and like when you hear that music generally.
Yeah, sure.
I think like a good structure for that.
And
so.
just how these just pop in my head constantly. So I have no idea what we're going to be listening to in what order. So boom, here's my first one.
Go first.
Ooh, this is
This is great. This gets stuck in my head too.
Yeah, the main theme of No More Heroes. This is good. This is just good stuff. I might also have to be tweaking our audio as we go through this because some of these tracks are going to be loud, some are going to be quiet. Main theme of No More Heroes. It's called Beam Katana Chronicles, but there's also like many versions of this you'll listen to. There's one's called like The Heat in Your Hand, which is also, I enjoy that title. It's the same melody that they play through.
Yeah, and that's what's memorable is that part right there that repeats and it's that memorable.
Well, it's just really catchy. It's good. But also each main stage kind of has like its own twist on how the instruments play that. But yeah, it's a really great. It like kind of sets up.
Pick.
Yeah, it sets up like how crazy the game is, but it's also like very video gamey, and I don't know. It just sounds great. It's just in my head all the time. No matter how... I don't remember the last time I even played No More Heroes 1, but probably at least, like, 10 years ago.
Yeah, but, like, you still even heard this in 3 when it came out. Like, that melody had to have been in there somewhere, right?
I'm not sure. They all had new music. I think they still had, like, a version of this at one point,
I hear this melody, and I think No More Heroes, the franchise. What's next?
Yep, next. Oh, boy.
Banjo.
I might have to... Man, I'm going to be tweaking the audio the entire time I do this.
This is what we've decided upon.
Yeah, this is the fate I have set myself up for. For this one, I'm actually looking at Spiral Mountain, but specifically the Super Smash Bros. One. I do really like the original soundtrack, or Banjo-Kazooie. I would say of the original soundtrack, it's Click Clock Wood that pops up in my head all the time, but for the sake of having a list of 15 songs, if I'm looking at Banjo-Kazooie, I think the much more upbeat version of Spiral Mountain that Grant Kirkhope himself still got to come back and do. So it is,
he's still composing.
Yeah, it's still the same guy making the music, so it's...
I don't think that's offensive to say this is his cleaned up, newest version.
Yeah, it's just my favorite version of Spiral Mountain that he's done. If you really like Grant Kirkhope's music, he's also gone back and just for no reason done like a whole reimagining of the original soundtrack he did for Banjo-Kazooie, and you can find it on Spotify. It's really great.
Didn't he do the music for Perfect Dark as well?
He's done a lot of stuff for Rare.
It was very strange.
But still, this is just another like happy bippity thing. It's just like always bouncing around. It's great. It's also really good for Smash Brothers, which shame on them for not putting Click Clock Wood in that game at all. That's one of the best tracks in that whole game.
But I think that soundtrack definitely encompasses Banjo-Kazooie, and it's like the feeling and the energy of it too, but like that melody just gets trapped in your head sometimes.
Well, this is also in mind that he's kind of coming back after the N64 era when he kind of died. I'm not counting nuts and bolts. So it's more triumphant, you know, it's a big grand revival theme.
And it sounds like that.
In the original, it's kind of hokey and, you know, like kind of country beat. It's weird.
True.
Yeah, so that's where the melody came from. In this version, just a very triumphant. It's a great version of the same song. Anyways, this is a nice, relaxing one.
I just don't know how you get Pokemon tracks stuck in your head.
I have, spoiler, I think I have 3 Pokemon tracks we're going to play on here today.
Alright.
And this is the first one. And this is Slateport City from Ruby and Sapphire. This is just, okay, I remember the first time I got here in the game. Now, you played this game, but you played it like with the sound off the whole time, and I kept telling you, you have to turn the sound on. The music is so good in this one.
I don't like Pokemon music. There's nothing in Pokemon that I've ever said.
You're such a grouch. You're really lucky that I scared off the Pokemon fanatics on my channel, because they would lynch you for the stuff that you say. No, there is great music in here. Junichi Masuda is a scumbag of a human being, but at least he's good at making music some of the time. I'll say that.
That's how you say that name. Okay. I was staring at the name and I was like, I didn't know how to say that.
Oh, that's not what that is right there.
Is
no.
it? Okay.
No, that's something completely different.
Never mind.
Never mind. Kim's reading something on screen. So the soundtrack I had to grab for this was like the Japanese version, so the city names were all messed up. But anyway, it's Slateport City. Okay. It's a really great one. It's a relaxed, like you just travel to this place on boat and you dock in the beach. And you get off the beach and you just like greeted by this beautiful ocean town, and it just sounds wonderful. It's a great place to be.
I complain about Pokemon, but I stayed up way too late last night playing the new Pokemon Snap. So like,
she's a hypocrite, is what she's saying.
Yeah.
And I'm saying like this is like beautiful vacation background music that you want to be in. That's what this one is. Okay.
I'll play this poolside for you then.
You absolutely should. Oh. Now, if we're going to get copyright claimed on any of these, it's going to be this one. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit lower and just tell you it's going to quietly play in the background. It's technically there. This is amazing. This is the opening level to Sonic Adventure Battle 2. It is called Escape from the City, or City Escape. The level is called City Escape. The track, I think, is called Escape from the City, but whatever. It is great. It has vocals to it, which is why I'm worried that there's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I could see that coming up.
Yeah, because this was actually really hard to get. The Sonic team really is totally fair for having fans build their own fan games and promoting that stuff, which is very strange in the industry. Like, Nintendo would never do that.
No.
When it comes to their music, though, they are as as strict as Square Enix. So
I was going to say, if you brought up that example.
We don't want to go there. So instead, I'm probably going to have to jump over this one, but it's a great high-energy opening track.
So we don't get stopped.
It's wonderful, but I'm going to jump ahead because we really can't listen to that anymore. And this kind of broke. No, it did not. It's a Super Nintendo track. Let me play it louder for you.
Well, and the track's just kind of quiet to start.
It does. This one, this starts
we should tell them
quiet.
what it is.
Anyway, we are listening to, hey, guess what? I put a Super Metroid theme on here. Now, to be fair, it just originates from Super Metroid. This is kind of like became what was the main theme of the series. This is the theme of Samus Aran. Well, it later will be called that. See, it's complicated. It originally in Super Metroid, it's called Theme of Super Metroid. Every other game after that, it's called Theme of Samus Aran. It's like
they're also called Samus Eaters, so I mean, yeah.
Oh, this creature. Yeah, we watched the Super Metroid experience. But also, what we know as Ridley's theme is not called Ridley's theme. Several bosses share it. Dragon and the Golden Chorizo also play the exact same thing.
But only in Super Metroid, right?
Only in Super. So, like, just because it's called something different, yeah. But anyway, of all the themes, this gets
stuck in your head. It's so quiet.
Well,
We're not to the part that picks up. I know.
Yeah.
I don't like that part because it sounds so upbeat, which Metroid to me is like creepy and scary.
Okay.
You know, like
half of this is creepy and scary.
So, like, to me, like, this part of the track matches Metroid, but then when you get to that upbeat part, like, to me, that doesn't match as much.
Some versions of it are trying to be triumphant, like, for example, in Metroid Dread, even the Symphony version that was playing at the Video Game Awards, 21 or 2, what year was that? 21, I think? When they played it was a very upbeat version of
21.
that.
You're right, 21.
It doesn't matter. It should have won, and it didn't, because Jeff Keighley's an imbecile. We could have had a whole episode just complaining about that. I think we might eventually.
Like, that will make me so sour, it will hurt my being.
I know, but then I probably need Zach to fix my my cynicism Anyway, it's a great theme, and it can be played really dark and creepy, which is kind of how it's done in Super Metroid, and later it can be used to be like uplifting and huge, because they use this theme usually as like a reprise for your ending sometimes, and it's really great when they do that.
Right.
So it's a really great one. It does get stuck in my head, even maybe it's because of how many times I played it.
Like,
it totally does.
The melody to me doesn't.
I think it's because it starts easy in my head, like from you stop talking with somebody to go to move to do something else. You're like cleaning in a bathroom and you're scrubbing the toilet and bum 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 bum. It does. I'm telling you, it starts easily and just kind of like snowballs.
I need almost like a repetitive melody going throughout it for it to just get really lost.
Yeah, I get that, but like I think it's because this one's so easy for it to start from a void. The rest of my mind is just this horrible.
Is this void?
Yeah, this nonsense void. So here we are back at Ruby and Sapphire.
I will agree this is an amazing song, but it does not get just stuck in my head until you say it, and then you say it, and then it gets stuck in my head.
Yes, this is the Mart from Ruby and Sapphire again. I swear we're not going to talk about Ruby and Sapphire ever again, but
it's like one of your favorite games, so
yeah, it's really good. We actually are teasing another episode. We're planning on doing one where we talk about our top 25 favorite video games ever.
And I'm pretty sure that's on there.
It's not.
Really?
No, it's not on there.
I know you had a hard time with
there. I did. There is a single Pokemon game on that list though, so don't think that I'm ignoring them completely.
I think I know what it is.
Anybody should know what it is. It's pretty obvious what it is. Anyway, this is great. So I remember when, like, pretty much at any point when I had to work in retail, which unfortunately was like throughout my entire life, this would play in my head.
Well, that would make you a lot more cheery at work,
I had to. I was like, this job sucks. The people I work with sucks. The customers suck. Everything about what I do sucks. I hate it. And everything's better. You can like just be the cheery person at the mart. Right. It's I don't know, like the mart music you have in, or even like the Pokemon Center theme. Like just think about the Pokemon Center theme. That is annoying. It has always been annoying. I've never liked it. Yeah. Like you go in there and you're like, ugh, come on, I want to get to my box, get the Pokemon out quickly because it's
and then
it's
you want to
repetitive.
click through the nurse's dialogue so quickly that you accidentally
you mash
heal
through
your
it,
Pokemon
you heal
twice.
your Pokemon
I mean,
twice.
People have experienced that.
It's awful. I guarantee you, if the Pokemon Center sounded half as good as this theme, I would never have cared. You know, it's like a boss fight that's like so good and you lose to it the first time, you're like, yes, I get to fight him again. You like that good.
Yeah.
Like, Pokemon Center sucks, but the Martin Gen 3 is amazing. Moving on. I did have a Mario theme on here, and it is not what you expected.
Yeah,
you probably
it's not what I expected.
Probably would have expected Mario 1. No, but Koji Kondo is such a wizard. Super Mario Bros. 2, this is the overworld theme. This probably got lodged in my head because of Super Smash Bros. Melee, actually. I didn't get to play this one for much later. I played Super Mario Deluxe was my first game I ever played, so I had been playing Mario since I was like 5 or 6. And Mario 2 didn't come around for me for a long time after that. I even played Mario 3 on the NES like just several years after that, and I hadn't had a chance to play Mario 2. But you unlock a stage, and I think you get it with Luigi in that game, I'm not sure, but I just remember playing with Luigi a ton in Melee, and I always went to this stage, and this music
to this music?
Yeah, well, this is,
Okay.
I don't think you choose the music in that one, it's,
okay.
I don't remember when they started doing that, it might have been Brawl, but it's the ground theme that fits for what the stage is. And I heard it constantly, and I was like, yeah, it just got lodged in there from playing it so
Got
much.
stuck.
And then eventually, when I did eventually get to go play through all of Mario 2 and beat it, this is like such a great part of it, and I realized why they wanted to select it, because it's such a great theme, and they didn't even remix it at all. It just played vanilla, like out of the NES in Melee, so kind of where I heard it the first time, but still. I really love this one. Of all the Mario themes, this might be the one that actually gets stuck in my head the most.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because it's such an unconventional
not really,
one.
Yeah, it is very unconventional.
But I really like it.
I mean, I have a lot of unconventional ones on my list, so...
Yeah, these lists are weird. It's not, like, we're also not saying, like, just because it's, like, really great or really bad. That's why we led with the Mii Plaza theme.
It's just stuck in there.
Yep. And this one's stuck in there all right. This is Gower Plains from Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
How many hours were you in Gower Plains?
Oh my god, I don't know. But this is the first environment you get to in that game where it feels gargantuan.
Is there a day and night version of that song?
Yes, there is, and
that's
it's
what I thought.
beautiful. Okay. There's the day and night version of everything. And the first time, so Gower Plains is effectively the knee.
This is from Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
Yes, I said that.
No, you didn't.
I said it was from Xenoblade Chronicles.
Maybe you did.
Well, okay, fine. Xenoblade Chronicles is the first one.
First game, the first one.
Yeah, and everyone in Europe got the better version of the name, which is just Xenoblade. As it should have been. Yeah, so anyway, everything that you've known in this entire game, which has been huge so far, you played, like, basically on, like, the shin of this giant titan, and you journey farther through caves north, and you're working your way up, and you finally get to just its knee. And this enormous area is Gower Plains. And you eventually got a stage in Smash 4, so you might recognize it even if you haven't gotten a chance to play the game yourself. But, like, being here, you can actually see out all the way to the other Titan in the distance. It's like the famous place where they have the Monado sitting in the ground. That you know that wallpaper image.
Like the cover, right?
Yeah, this is where it is. And it's like such a colossal place, and there's so much to do. In the Nintendo Wii era, it was that's early enough to where it like cemented with like this is the magical, enormous, open fantasy world.
Well, and you know, Smash Brothers picked it for a reason, right? So I think that's kind of the thing too. Like, think
thematically one, you don't want to spoil the game too much,
right?
And two, like it's a very memorable place because it's when you finally start like seeing the scale, just the skybox in the distance, you know, was like a whole other, basically planet-sized Titan thing that is like locked in place, and you're on a different one. And you are constantly reminded when you move from area to area on the map. The map shows you a picture of the whole Titan, and it just shows you barely moving on this thing. And when you get to the, like I said, this is just the knee. So that's all it is. But
there was a lot of explanation.
I'm sorry.
I know. You love it.
That's
I'm trying
what matters
to keep us on track.
Yeah, it's the fact that the music is what sets the scene.
Yeah.
And to quickly mention, I think that I feel bad for music coming so late in my review series because it is one of the most important aspects in games that like defines what they are. If this song sucked, nobody would have really cared much for this area. In fact, they might have even stopped playing the game if it didn't land.
Because you're just spending so much time there.
Well, yeah, you'd be spending a ton of time in this area, and if it doesn't like really hit the way that the developers wanted it to, you might drop off from the game immediately. Because also the game hasn't had its huge twist yet.
I mean, you don't have to explain it to me. I also enjoyed this track.
It's great.
And I didn't play it yet. But
Next.
This makes me so anxious. Why does this get stuck in your head?
I don't know. Well, so this is the encounter theme from Metal Gear Solid. Just because it makes you anxious, because yes,
makes me so anxious.
It's you alert, you're running and hiding. It is also your boss theme. So that is also... I really like that comes around full circle. So if you're doing badly, you hear it. And then when you're doing well, you hear it. Right? So when you're beating bosses, this is like your theme song. So then the more you play the game, the more you listen and think like, okay, just because I get caught or like they're after me, this is my time. This is the moment I have to figure out how to make all this work. And it's kind of like the iconic music of the whole series, or at least it's the most memorable track to me. This one sticks really well.
Yeah, I get that. I don't think it's stuck in my head as much because I haven't played as much Metal Gear.
Well, you didn't play this one.
I did play this one.
You played for like 20 minutes.
It scared me.
Did you even get caught?
Yes.
Did you even get killed?
Yes.
You didn't even get to Revolver Ocelot though. So.
No.
Okay, so you barely got anywhere.
It scared me.
Anyway, I'll move on. Oh boy. I will randomly just start humming this.
You will. You will. I've heard you humming this.
I might have to turn this one up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little quiet.
So this is Choco Mountain from the N64 Mario Kart. And yeah, this is one of those like left to like no one said anything to me for like 15 seconds, and I'll just start da 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 da. I don't know why. It just happens, and it frustrates me as well. I'm sorry. I probably have done this many times over live streams where I don't hear anything. I'm telling you, as soon as there's a flat line in my brain, it just like goes to one of these tracks, and it just goes with
flat line.
Yeah. But not much more has to be said for this one. It's just the goofy, hoppity one. I don't even know why it's this one in particular, but like this track is just like cemented.
I don't know. That seemed like the track I would go to a lot though, in the N64 one. So I guess you didn't get that.
Yeah, it's a good one, but also I think it plays during some of the battles that you do. So I played a lot of those with neighbors, so that's probably what it was. Okay, so this I might have to turn up a bit. This is a Super Nintendo track. We're listening to... Ooh, I can even hear a lot of rain in the background.
Outside,
hopefully you don't hear that. Like I said, it's a nasty January day, and we're listening to this beautiful overworld theme by Koji Kondo, yet again, from Super Mario World.
I can still barely hear it.
Yeah, I can barely hear myself, but like they hear something different than what we do. So you gotta remember, like, just because we don't hear it doesn't...
You guys are hearing something wonderful.
Yeah, we are barely listening to this on purpose, so you don't hear doubling. So, what's so cool about the Super Mario World entire soundtrack that I wanted to at least talk about the overworld for is every single track in the game, for the most part, is using this main melody, but it's completely shifting how it works and like the whole like mood of it and the tempo and everything. And like you can go into a dark, scary castle area, and I didn't even notice that it was the same theme until like just a few years ago. I would like, oh my god! Like, this guy's brilliant. And of course it's super memorable, it's really great, and I really love it.
Yes, I know you swoon over Koji Kondo a lot.
Koji Kondo's the best. He really is. He's the best. Oh boy. Speaking of Koji Kondo.
This is pretty memorable.
Yeah, I was looking at The Legend of Zelda in general, like what's the one that stands out to me? I'm trying to lower this as well, because that looked like it was a little loud for you. Like, once again, I can't really tell. I don't hear what you hear. I am literally looking at waveforms and trying to fight back on them. So this is the Dark World from Link to the Past. This is, for one, like, at the point of the game, it's a really memorable moment because, like, you
thought you beat the game?
Yeah, you could have. You probably thought you beat the game. Yeah. As a kid, I thought I beat the game.
I thought it was at the end of it, and I even knew the Dark World was in it.
I beat Aghanim. What do you mean? Like, and you're teleported into this whole alternate dimension overlaid on top of the original map where everything's corrupted. The original Hyrule Castle is now this pyramid, and that's where you start on top of it, and everything is scary out here. The music is kind of like the sister theme to the main Zelda theme that you know,
Right.
which was the overworld
But I do
theme.
like
and
the
you
Dark
heard.
World one a little bit better. It does get.
Yeah, well, it gets to use the
think the
Super
drama of
Nintendo.
it, the
Yeah,
drama
the
of
Super
it.
Nintendo has a really great like MIDI channels that it can play where something sounds like a drums. It's got the trumpets. It sounds like it can play all sorts of stuff when it really isn't, and it still has like that retro theme to it. It still sounds great. I really love this one, and even though like the fairy fountain and stuff might be more catchy and stick in my head, this is like the Zelda theme that I'm probably going to start humming
that
randomly.
Amount of space in your head all the time.
We're living rent free. We're back at Mario Kart.
I don't even know this.
I have sung it randomly. This and
Sure you have.
This and Choco Mountain are effectively the same. They're very similar, but they're not quite the same. So this one I actually sing to myself more than Choco Mountain. In fact, if you think I'm doing Choco Mountain, I'm probably doing Snowland from Mario Kart Super Circuit, which is the Game Boy Advance one. It's Mario Kart 3.
Right.
This is another one of those goofy, excited ones like the shop in Ruby and Sapphire. It's just another bippity-boppity, really happy song. I really love this one. And I'm almost done with my list. I only have two left.
All right.
I know you keep looking at your phone. You're impatient as all get out.
No, we have a toddler.
I know. We're gonna get her in just a moment. She woke up from her nap. The storm must have got her. We're listening to Luigi's Mansion. This was actually kind of hard to figure out exactly what the singular track was, because this is kind of like Mario World, where they make like a main melody for the game, and different rooms will use that melody to have different effects of how they want you to feel in that room.
It's just a great way to create your soundtrack for a video game.
It's really great. And another great thing about this is Luigi will nervously hum along to it to try and not be scared.
Poor Luigi.
It's great.
He tries so hard.
Well, also it helps you like relate to the character, and like since it's a cartoony thing for kids, but it's a horror game, it's supposed to make the kids feel like it's okay. He's scared too. Isn't that funny? Look at the little man. He's scared. And then like if you can make him move around and do stuff, then like you can relate more to him and not be as turned off from it.
You could feel even braver than he is.
Exactly.
Too,
yeah,
so
like
that,
if he
empowers you.
if he looks terrified and you're just like a little nervous, you feel like you are less scared than him. And so the music though, it's very creepy. And it's also still cartoony enough that they can spin it around and play like goofy versions of it, like the Game Boy Horror plays like the same thing, and it's just like a bibbity boop version of the same thing. It's great, the whole soundtrack. My last one.
That's not surprising at all.
This is the final boss theme basically of Pokemon Gold and Silver. You are either fighting Lance in the Elite Four, or you've made it to the top of Mount Silver and you are fighting Trainer Red, where this theme gets recycled. It is just known as Battle Champion. Either way, that's true. It's just one of the most intense like fight musics ever, and I just love the way that it starts. Once again, this is kind of like that Super Metroid one where
it starts a little slower.
Yeah, well, it can start from like almost nothing, and then like if you don't have a song in your head, and all of a sudden just bum bum. Even if you hear something that just does that rhythm in the beginning, it can make this start going in my head. Because whereas like I would say if we were doing a list of like what I think is the best music I've ever heard in games, or like what would be like the best battle themes, if I'm sticking to Pokemon, I would say that the Gym Leader theme from Red and Blue is better than this one. But this is the one that like gets going in my head because I heard, the way that it starts, and then it just like once again snowballs into it's the rest of it.
So I have a funny observation about your list, because that was the last one on your list. All of them are Nintendo except for one.
Really? What was the one that I didn't have Nintendo?
Metal Gear.
Oh yeah?
Everything was Nintendo.
Maybe no, that's not true. So Sonic Adventure
Sonic
Battle
Adventure,
2 was a Dreamcast game, I think, first, but it was I played it on the GameCube.
You played it on
and Metal Gear Solid would eventually get remade on the GameCube, so you could say
but it's not an original, a lot of these are actually Nintendo owned franchises.
Well, yeah, I mean, for a game soundtrack to get lodged in your brain, it needs to be played for a long time over and over and over again, and you need to be playing it when you're young. And most of these I played when I was younger.
Speak for yourself. anything.
Probably the most recent one in here that I played would have been Xenoblade Chronicles, but even still, that was like 15 years ago at least, maybe.
Well, I mean, you've been hearing
maybe
me play
20.
Link to the Past, so you've probably been hearing Dark World more frequently lately.
I pre-ordered Xenoblade Chronicles 1, so I'm not sure exactly when that came out, but that would be the time. And many of these I just keep playing to this day. So yeah, like you said, it's not like I'm still playing Mario 2. I play the other Mario games more than that one. But Super Metroid, obviously I'm playing that a lot. No More Heroes I haven't played in a long time. Actually, that's about the same time as Xenoblade. So yeah, it's up there, but still, nothing in the past like 15 years or so.
It's almost like
made it on my list.
Tracks, you know.
Well, I don't know, but nostalgia sure might have a part of it, but it's not like I'm gonna be fighting back bias when I'm scrubbing a toilet seat and I'm just like trying to occupy my brain.
Flatlines, like you said.
Yeah, my brain flatlines and it starts playing a theme from a certain track in Mario Kart Super Circuit that I haven't booted up in over 25 years or so, and there it goes. Well, not 25. That's a little. Now we're talking. Maybe. Actually, how old is that?
That might be right. Okay, let's just move on. Let's move on.
Anyway, we're gonna move on to Kim's list.
We're older than we think we are sometimes.
Here's Kim.
I didn't even play Mario.
This is Koji Kondo.
Yeah, I know I was picking on you for Koji Kondo, but this Mario theme, think about this. I never even played the original Mario Brothers, and I know this theme, and I know it get lodged in there. Now, typically, it is the one from Mario Odyssey in New Donk City, where you can like dance with it. That's like my favorite version of it.
The
so
band
that's what
theme.
gets stuck.
After you get all the band members in New Donk.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of like the version that typically gets stuck in my head. But like the tune of it is so memorable, and it will just get stuck in my head sometimes if I'm doing like a mundane task or a repetitive task, because I think about Mario jumping. I think like the same thing. But I didn't even ever play Mario Brothers, and I think it's memorable.
I think the NES, which this was also an arcade game, but on the NES, I believe there was only 4, maybe 5 channels for your music. So if you listen closely, there's like something keeping a beat in the background. That's already like one of your channels. And then there's only like a few different types of sounds that you can make.
If you can make a memorable track from that, you're working some wizardry.
Yeah, there's some amazing stuff that people have managed to produce in terms of music on really old hardware. I think it's why I love Game Boy music so much, because it's like so limited and people can make some really good stuff with it.
Yeah.
Oh no, that doesn't sound grainy. Game Boy Advance is what sounds grainy. Game Boy sounds crystal clear.
I see.
We're watching the baby on the camera and she's running around like the Ring. There's black and white photos. She just T-posed on the floor. Never mind. She's insane. We gotta move on here.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't. You're gonna keep that in?
I'm gonna have to. So anyway, here's your next one. Oh my God, she really does look like a horror movie I'm watching here.
Okay.
Crazy.
Okay, so you're probably hearing that thumping in the background.
We gotta let her out, so we're gonna hurry this up.
Like you said, no particular order.
This is a game called Persona 5. Do you need some help here?
Yeah, I'm struggling because of the baby.
The song. Okay, so this is called Beneath the Mask. This plays basically at like your off time. On after school, and there's a version if it's raining.
There's a bunch of different versions.
Yeah.
There's non-vocal versions, so it's like sometimes it's quietly in the background, which I think is kind of the raining version.
It's a nice like just jazzy.
I will listen to this on loop if I am trying to like mellow out my brain. So sometimes when my brain just goes quiet, I'm trying to relax. This pops into my head and just. I know the lyrics too, so like that starts getting stuck in my head and it just kind of snowballs and it keeps getting stuck in there.
Yeah, speaking of which, I hope Atlas doesn't get mad at us for that one.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good at that.
Okay about it.
Lately they started, I think they started going back on that.
Older ones that have been, okay.
Atlas used to be bad and now they're changing their policies. So is Nintendo.
You can play this on loop and it's gonna sound great on loop, you
like,
know? Like, I'll just listen to it.
Coffee shops probably should just play this on loop.
Yeah, it would be great. It's so relaxing and comfortable.
Level up people's confidant in each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful.
You're only social.
What's your next one? Hey, look.
Look, it's Persona 5
again. Put Persona next to it. Okay, so anyway.
Okay, so this is your battle theme, but it's only in the original Persona 5, not Persona 5 Royal.
It's in there.
It shows up, but not as frequently.
Yeah, so it's like your main battle theme in the original, but yeah.
I'm a little bummed bummed if you play the Royal because you don't get to hear Last Surprise every single time you start in a battle. And I will just start singing the lyrics to this. It gets stuck in there constantly.
The only downside to Last Surprise was, like, for me when I played it, because I stupidly played it on, safety, because I was told not to.
I'm bummed.
Because I wanted to maximize the confidants and all that stuff. I was told that was the important part. And I'm glad I did get to do that, and I wasn't.
Yeah, but now we know better. We don't need to play it.
Well, sure. Yeah, but the thing is, when it's set that easy, by that point, I bet your battle has already ended.
Done.
Yeah, like you probably already defeated everything.
Right.
And it's even easier in the Royal because now even if you're playing on normal difficulty, you'll get like spawns where something like wants to explode and just defeat the rest of the enemies and you just blow up one thing.
So sometimes I will, because I love this track so much, I will just hang on my
intentionally
turn.
not do anything?
Yeah, I'll just sit there for a bit.
Yeah.
Because this song, like, even just singing it and getting it stuck in my head makes me feel confident because you're like, I am winning this. I am great.
I don't know if it was intentional, but one of my favorite parts about this song was during battle, because I would do the same thing. You let, like, Ryuji or, like, On just, like, do their idols, and their idols kind of, like, bop to the beat.
Up with it,
they sync to the beat of the song, and it's great.
So,
it's
just
not like, I know, like, Sea of Stars does that intentionally. I don't know if Persona did it intentionally.
So, like, Beneath the Mask and Last Surprise, they're almost always in my head at some point, and then I'm like, well, I gotta listen to the whole soundtrack now, because that's, like, all the time. Memorable tracks for me. Yeah. And I'm really bummed if you played the Royal, because you didn't get to hear this one a lot. It's in there.
Yeah, it's there.
So if you play the Royal and you've played the original, you get excited playing the Royal when this comes on, and I just let it sit there for a while.
Yeah, well, every time I remember you get an encounter in Last Surprise plays, you're like, oh, yes, finally, it's Last Surprise. And you're like trying to just soak in this one encounter that you have.
I noticed
she played it originally on the
PS4
version of it, and then she played the Royal on the Switch.
So then, this isn't related, but I did notice the other day as I was playing the Royal, I was singing to the song that was playing while I was playing it. So I'm like, that's how memorable the music is for that game for me. So, but these two specifically, always in my head.
And she's not going to put any more Persona on this list.
Nope, that was all my Persona. I promise.
I don't think either of us
Except
gave more than 2 from a single game.
And I bet I would put that. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. You might put Mass Destruction on there if you played it, but still. Anyway, moving on.
This is another Atlas game, and it's a real weird one that gets
this is a weird one.
Stuck in my head.
See, you wrote Tension, and to me immediately that is a track from Super Metroid called Tension. It plays before a boss fight when you know something's coming. So it's obviously not that, but
so this is
the track I know
soundtrack from an Era Atlas game. This is from Catherine. And the song's called...
the full bit.
The original one's in full body. It's in both.
It's in both.
This is Tension. So this is the track that plays after you have just beat a level of climbing up and doing your puzzle level, and you're about to go to the next stage of it. So you're super anxious from that last one. You're like, I barely made it out, and now I got to go to another one.
I believe it's only the end of the nightmare chain,
right,
where you finally get like the big golden door and the end of the boss and the
so
angels and the angelic stuff plays.
This is the Tension one that plays in between each of them, and I think because I associate that anxiety but that excitement at the same time,
I don't know how this gets stuck in your head then.
It's just like a very simple, repetitive tune, and it just gets lodged in there, and I think about it a lot. And I think it used to be on my Spotify, and I would click off of it usually.
It's weird. Like, that would make me just uncomfortable.
I don't know. It just gets stuck in there.
I'm, like, walking down a grocery aisle, and I'd hear this and just...
That's what happens.
I'm looking around my shoulder, like, that guy's following me. He just picked up the same type of granola bars that I just did.
I think it's because I relate that emotion to it. That's why it becomes memorable to me and gets stuck in my head.
I guess so.
I love this one. I love this track because the intro gets stuck in my head every single time. So this is from Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt. This is called The Trail, and it is the first, well, I guess the second track after the main menu once you've started a brand new game. So this track plays during the intro cutscene.
Does it not play anywhere else in the game?
It does not.
Wow. Okay, because I think the melody still might come back, but... The soundtrack's enormous and the game's enormous, and I've listened to this so many times. You could have told me it plays like 100 times in the game.
It only plays the one time, and it so perfectly matches up with the images and the sequence. So I hear that big boom start to it, and I'm like, I'm there. I'm in the game.
Yeah,
so,
you see like the raven like fly through that guy's face.
eye, and then you see Geralt picking pieces up off the ground.
Yeah,
and
it
he's
ebbs and flows when it like goes from this battle where Yennefer is, and then back to like modern time where Geralt is in the same place,
goosebumps. Look
trying
at
to figure out where
goosebumps.
they are.
So,
yeah, it's really well
done.
This
soundtrack, very easily gets stuck in my head, and it's usually that first chunk when it like builds and rises.
It might just be like one of your favorite cutscenes instead.
I mean, I also have a list that is my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this song pops into my head a lot, especially when I think of Witcher. So.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Ooh, hey, look, you didn't even play this game.
Fun story. I haven't played this game either. It's on my list. I'm playing it next.
Mm-hmm. She's trying to finish Persona 5 The Royal, which right now she has like 170 hours
I gotta
in.
finish Strikers.
No, just finish The Royal.
No,
and
I'm
start
finishing
this for crying
Strikers.
out
I'm
loud.
almost done with Strikers. Okay.
That lets you start a different game.
Okay.
Anyway.
So this is from Xenoblade 3. So this is what they play when they send on extra soldiers when you're out in the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And they're playing different chunks of it at different points in time.
Yeah, like the whole original song is like a minute and a half long, but whenever you're out in the field and you find a soldier, they only play like 10, 15 seconds of it, and it's always a different snip of it. If you're hearing it, it kind of starts and gets quiet again. It's to give it those chances to start and stop.
And it's just this melody that will just get repetitively stuck in my head, and it's a very calming melody too. Mm-hmm. And I think when I hear it, I think about the whole game as a whole, because you hear it so frequently. You hear that melody off and on, and I just love it for that, and it's lodged in there a lot.
It is also,
if I can't think of any other tracks.
Unlike The Witcher we were just talking about, this melody is woven into the rest of the game.
Yes.
So you will hear this all over the place, but this is specifically when you're sending people. I think they have a better word for it, because now I'm looking at FF10 because it's the same thing.
FF10 is, they say the sending in there, but, they say this track is specifically called A Life Sent On, so maybe, I think they called it something else though. So amazing. The whole soundtrack is great, but this is the one that usually gets stuck in my head.
Yeah, Weight of Life is really great. The vocal tracks are unbelievable, but we're talking about like the memorable stuff, not like what's our absolute favorites. It's just what sticks. What sticks.
Okay, this was a really weird one, and Alex doesn't get it.
Why would you pick this one?
I don't know. It's that slow opening tune that you're talking about, and it picks up too.
So like you kind of hear this when like you accidentally like bump some dishes when you're scrubbing something. And
I do.
Bump, and it just kind of like starts.
Yeah, and then it just starts it for me. So like I hear those notes. So this is from Portal 2, and it's called Love as a Construct, and it is like many of the songs, there's multiple versions of it, because as you play the levels and you say you knock out a turret or you've bumped a cube into a laser, it'll start playing a different tone of the song. Mm-hmm. And this one, it's like as soon as I hear a note, I start with that first note. Like you said, I'll hear a clang of a dish or something.
And then it lets you play the rest of it.
Starts popping into my head. And it's just that slow melody. And it does pick up a little bit as you get later on in it. But it's a very like droning melody. And I think I have a lot of that on here. Like droning on quiet stuff is what I get stuck in my head a lot.
Yeah, some of the best stuff in Portal 2 is where you are listening to the droning almost nothing soundtrack until you figure something out, and since it had multiple versions of the same thing, it then starts overlaying and just seamlessly transitions into something right when you're like, oh, and that's when it does it. So,
because I relate this one to like a specific level that I did, and I started figuring out the laser thing, and I know like that first few notes of it, and every time it pops into my head.
Yeah,
but it's not my favorite track from Portal 2. It's just the one that pops into my head all the time.
Such a weird pick. But anyway, it's a long track too. So like I said, there's multiple version or like segments of this. Like the whole thing is like 5 minutes long. Yeah. So anyway, the next one, because we're not going to stick around and listen to all these. It's an NES game.
This is relaxing music for me. I don't know about the rest of you all, but so this is. Can you even hear it? Oh.
Yeah, well,
they'll hear it.
Don't worry about us. I'm looking at the waveforms. They can do it.
Okay, so this is the theme from Dr. Mario, the fever theme, not the chill one.
Yeah, you can choose music in the beginning, just like you can choose the speed and all that.
Like the other week, I played Dr. Mario straight for 2 hours, and you kept asking me if I was going to stop.
Yeah.
And then even when I stopped, I was singing the
Like, are you okay?
the fever theme.
Kim, are you okay?
And I got so obsessed with it, I made little perler bead art, like what's behind us of the viruses, and I am humming the fever tune the entire time I'm making it. I'm pretty sure he was concerned about me.
Well, because she was sick at the time, and she was playing Dr. Mario throwing pills at viruses, and I was wondering if she was, like, trying to somehow subconsciously like, defeat what's in her right now. Like, is she okay?
I just wanted
also,
something
I was actually cleaning dishes and watching over my shoulder, and I was seeing occasionally her making some terrible moves, like, oh god. Like, she's not feeling so good. Like, oh boy, that was stupid. I'm just not gonna say anything.
That, if anyone asks, I've barely played any NES games, but that is my favorite one.
The Super Smash Bros. Melee rendition of this is awesome.
It is good.
It's so good.
It is good, but I'm just saying I played this one for 2 hours and it just
I heard the Melee
went free
rendition first
all the time.
because I didn't have access to play this one. If
course,
I don't think they ever made a Game Boy Color version. There's a Game Boy version of this, meaning no color. I don't know how you play it. I haven't gotten to like look at the ROM or anything yet, but that sounds impossible because it's a color game.
I like the N64 one, and that one was fun too.
Well, yeah, it's
and
all the
they
same.
always keep the same theme because it's awesome.
That's just what it is. Oh my! Look.
Unsurprisingly, I have Metroid on my list because I hear it.
What do you mean unsurprisingly?
All the time.
What do you mean unsurprisingly?
Especially, I even picked the Super Metroid themes because I hear it probably at least once a week.
Oh, okay. So once again, it's not that it's good or bad or anything, it's that it's stuck in your head because a certain somebody is playing it so many times that you don't have a choice.
So I like to get Brinstar stuck in my head because it's like this nice little jungle beat to it.
Upper Brinstar.
And whenever you get to that point in Super Metroid, I get so excited. I start like drum beating on my thighs because I love the beat of it so much.
Yeah, it's
and
fun.
It's like,
but it also still feels like you're in a jungle.
And it feels like to me when you reach that place, like everything opens up a little bit more. I don't know if that's really true or not, but
that's what's so clever about the design. When you get there, you think it does. It doesn't. It is super linear, but it is tricking you to think that.
I think it's so different from the other tracks that come before it, and that juxtaposition makes it feel like, oh my gosh, now I'm experiencing the full game or something like that.
I would say the moment where you actually open up and you can do anything is when you get the power bombs.
I can see that.
Because as soon as you do that, you can pretty much go wherever you want in the game. There's a reason why speedrunners actually go for the power bombs first, because you can go anywhere.
So it's funny, a game I've also never played, but probably know more than most people about Super Metroid.
well, you don't have to have played it. You just have to watch/listen to the entire series of the Super Metroid experience, of which I am working very hard on Chapter 5, by the way. Anyway.
Next.
Whoa, that's loud.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yep, that's a loud track. That's a loud track.
This is probably the most bombastic track we have on here.
I love this track.
Is this the only Monster Hunter we have on here?
Yeah.
I think it is. We were originally going to talk about Brachydios as well, so shout out to Brachydios. It's also great.
Right.
There's so many great tracks to that, but yeah, this is probably the best Monster Hunter track I've ever done.
So I don't know if anybody ever watched this video from way back in time when we were doing like a top monsters list. Yeah. And we're just, music.
It was music.
And we were just singing this like at the end of the video.
I think that was the whole ending or like the epilogue or something. We're just,
it doesn't matter what monster I'm fighting. It doesn't matter if I'm playing Monster Hunter World.
I mostly associate this with Lagiacrus, and if they do bring him back in newer games,
this will be his
it should, just like Ridley, like, he's going to inherit this because he's the big bad
People
who plays this.
People associate him to this.
You can hear this with Kirapeko.
First, finally fight your first big monster.
Great Jockey has his own theme.
Yeah, Great Jockey has his own theme, but
Kirapeko is the first one you would hear this with.
And then I think it really is impactful
Rathian,
when you
Rathalos,
fight Lagiacrus because
any of them out there. Royal Ludroth, he gets it too. It's so good. It's so good.
It's a good track.
Also, I think it's another one of those that's really easy to remember because it just starts from silence. Bombastic is the word.
Bombastic. Oh, look, another Super Metroid one.
I didn't add it on my list. Hey, Kim had 2 Super Metroids and I didn't.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But I'm just telling you, I love Ridley's theme, or in this case, it's called the the boss themes for Super Metroid, but Ridley like inherits it. So
yes, it's also Golden Torizo and Dragon.
Right, exactly. So like I know it's in those other ones, but I can picture the battle for a game I didn't play. I can picture the battle of Super Metroid against Ridley.
Or really, he kind of, since he inherits this and he comes back in so many games, I think my favorites are the ones that they did in Samus Returns. Those are so great, but Mercury's theme just can't do it
I just really like the original Super Metroid one. Like I
Oh,
know
yeah,
that
I love
fight
it too.
too,
Yeah.
and I really like the melody to it. But
that might be his best fight too, because you like the best part is like I don't want to get too much into this. You walk in through the door and there's no floor. You just fall into this giant arena and there's just like a Final Destination Smash Brothers pit and lava.
Does this play the first time that you encounter
It does.
him? Okay, so then I did play that.
So
part.
you kind of
I did play that
associate
part,
it to
so,
him. That's I think that's why people associate it to him.
So
it does play there, but otherwise you fall into this room. You're trapped with him, and it's just like this brawl.
And you can
have to-
put this melody to like anything, and it's probably gonna sound great. Like I have never heard a Ridley theme that I hate.
Yeah,
you
his
know?
Smash Brothers announcement is
playing
great.
it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
So
anyway.
Oh, another fun boss theme.
Yeah, we can't spend all time listening to it. I actually, since we're far enough into it and you're already stuck with us, I had to make sure that I did this the hard way, where I'm mixing the sound live as we're trying to record this, which in hindsight afterward, like it might cause some problems. Some of our audio might be hard to hear.
Tomorrow.
I might be when I edit this, but I had to do it this way because otherwise, every single track we would get to, we would both start trying to hum it to each other, and I'm playing it, I know, in post in the background, and I can't... You realize how that would be a complete mess? Like, we'd be singing off sync every time because we don't hear what you hear?
Yep.
Anyway, this is Genova, and we would absolutely have been doing this.
And, you know, I was kind of lumping Ridley and Genova together because both of those tunes... You can make it to anything, and it's basically that beginning of the Genova, the da-na-na-na-na-na-na, you know.
Well, it leads into the rest of it, too, but yeah. Nobuo Uematsu is outstanding.
He's done great with, you know, the NES, too, back then, so...
His Super Nintendo stuff is
He's one of those
amazing.
Musical game legends that, unfortunately, you know, we might not have doing music much longer because he's trying to retire. So
the poor guy, they won't let him. He just had to. Well, I mean, had to. I don't know how much he willingly wanted to completely remaster everything he did for the first 6 Final Fantasies for the Pixel remasters, but he did it anyway.
But he did it anyway.
Yeah.
So Genova, it plays multiple times in the original FF7
games. It's a recurring boss.
So every time you run into a portion of Genova or anything like that.
A portion of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Slices of it.
And I find this more memorable than Sephiroth's theme because it's so upbeat and it's doing the same repetitive, like,
this
I think
kind
of
of
this.
is like lesser Sephiroth, though, thematically and like literally in the game.
I don't think of Sephiroth's theme as memorable as much. Like, I know it.
That's an intimidation theme.
But like this
and
is
it works,
like,
but yeah,
I am in the fight. This is great. And you get to this part in the song right now where it starts to get triumphant and you think you're going to win.
Yeah.
You're doing really well.
Those are the best boss themes where you feel like you're like, the music can go both ways of you either destroying them or you just getting your butt handed to you.
So yeah, there's that melody again you're hearing, that main Genova theme. I think about it all the time. Like,
it's
a
really
great
good one.
theme.
We only have a few left.
This is totally opposite from what we were just listening to. So Gourmet Light Race does live rent-free in my brain.
It's a Kirby theme. She didn't say
It is from Kirby, and it lives there all the time.
I think it's from the Kirby Superstars.
I think
it's a Super Nintendo game where there's like 7 mini games together, and Gourmet Race is one of them. You're like racing against DDD eating food.
Right.
And since then they were like, that music was awesome, and they just keep using it.
And I specifically picked the one from Crystal Shards that's associated with a different mini game.
It's just the one you heard.
But it's still,
right?
That's the one I heard most frequently, and it's just, I'll just do that dun 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 dun, and it's all the time.
One of the weirdest versions of this is, I think it's the Melee version. Is
it's
like
really intense.
No, you're thinking of the Brawl one.
Oh,
the Brawl one's super intense. The Melee one is like this quiet symphony.
That's not Gourmet Race.
No, it's
you're
it's
racing
like so
for your life.
weird.
You're eating food. You're going.
Yeah, I always thought that was like the strangest. Smash Brothers music, their renditions are either like incredible or very questionable. Like whatever they did to the Metroid stuff, but
speeding up Beneath the Mask was a weird pick, but it worked.
Oh
so.
yeah, that was great. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Oh, here we go. Back to Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to be honest, it's really hard, as we mentioned before, to get Final Fantasy music. In fact, I probably shouldn't be playing this too much because they will get on me for this. But this is the Chocobo theme. And it's specifically the one from FF6 because I just happened to have it for my episode where I recently reviewed it.
The melody in general.
I know, that's why I'm just
Chocobo
prefacing.
theme.
We're listening to 6 because I had it on my computer for the video, but
You gotta get the dun.
I'd have to
dun, dun,
which here we are
dun,
singing
dun,
off
dun. Yeah.
sync. Yeah, but there we go.
It's there.
The Chocobo theme.
That theme is always there. I even double checked.
Which one game do you associate this with the most, though? Is it 10 or
10? I think. I think so because 7 starts out with the surfer version, and then you get into the theme, and then
sure in the Golden
the 6
Saucer,
is kind of the same way. But if you listen to the original and 2, that one's like the main melody, you know, because that's where he invented it.
Well,
and
right, it just keeps getting mixed around from there. And this, of course, is now the Nobuo Uematsu going back and remastering his old stuff and trying to make like a super goofy version of every single track of every single game. Yeah.
So Chocobo, that just pops into my head. I will sing that. You've probably heard me randomly sing it.
She does. No. This is her last one.
More calming music from me. So this is
calming. This unnerves me.
This is from Yoshi's Woolly World. It's called Yarn Yoshi Takes Shape, but it's like the main theme, so you'll hear that melody and other tracks in the game. Mm-hmm. And I think it bothers you because it sounds improvised almost, I guess.
You know this less so, but you know the music in Crafted World, how you listen to it, especially when I think they changed some of it when they made their initial trailer showing the game. The music sounded so uncomfortable, off kilter, like the notes, every one of them felt wrong.
It's still kind of like that though. Like,
yeah, it's still kind of like that. It's not as bad as that initial trailer, but this is like before you get to that point. It's almost uncomfortable.
You know, it does kind of remind me.
The Smash Brothers remix of this is
it does kind of remind me of the Me Plaza thing, though, where it's just kind of hitting random notes.
Yeah, it sounds like a cat walking across the keyboard and then, like, landing on, knocking over a vase on a train set.
But I know the tune so well, and I hear it, and I get excited, and it's just stuck in there.
They also play segments of this intentionally so that they could repurpose them for other things, like, you know, beating levels and, like, listening or watching those little videos.
Those little videos, this plays every single time, and you relate it to that awesome good feeling of watching Poochie do something really stupid.
Yeah, it's I'm sure when you first play this, you'd say it sounds kind of annoying, but like the game...
Oh, I did not. I loved it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say this game kind of Pavlovianly gets into your brain by like the game being super cute and you having a good time with it, and it plays this and you're like, I like it now.
Right. And I know like the whole like idea of Yoshi being like this kid's craft. See, you like it. Don't even start. Like this kid's craft idea, starting with Yoshi's Island, where it was like drawn with crayons and everything.
It
I
looked
love
like
that.
Little paper pieces.
Yeah, and the music matches it. So like I really like this like homey feeling to it.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if Yoshi actually exists.
And you know, I probably
the only real Yoshi was in Mario World, and everything else is just like this disturbing pretend place.
Wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? We're going back. All
right, sorry, Yoshi lore.
So, yeah, Yoshi's Woolly World, that track probably pops into my head if I'm doing crafts with my daughter, you know? I'll start, like, humming it to myself. So, that's my last one.
But yeah, I'm curious what other music that is stuck in your guys' head, living rent-free. When you take a shower and have no choice and it's there, whether you like it or not. It just pops up.
I love Beneath the Mask, but it kind of gets a little annoying sometimes.
Oh, anything will get annoying if you play it long enough.
And then, like I said at the beginning, and you go to bed and you just hope it's not in there when you get up.
Maybe like the Dr. Mario or something. Something you don't want to listen to when you're trying to sleep. Or, gosh, that Catherine thing. Imagine trying to sleep to that.
It stresses me out listening to it, and it just pops into my head sometimes, and I'm like, wait, what? What's going on?
I've never had that happen. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of HITBOX. If you enjoy the show, you can help us keep it alive by supporting us on Patreon by using the links in the show notes and this video's description. And for those of you on YouTube, remember to like the video and subscribe for more, and be sure to let us know what you thought of the show and what other topics you would like to hear us cover in the future. And special thanks to all of our amazing Patreon members. Booyah.
Bye-bye.
Nope.